we'll be talking to Pastor Ola and his team today. We have Patricia. Patricia, how are you?
This is Patricia here.
And how's everything?
Fine.
Fine, you're welcome to the studio. And if you guys can just introduce yourself.
And this
Yeah.
My name is Leanne.
Leanne.
My name
Joyce.
is Joyce.
Joyce.
My name is Nabule.
Nabule, yeah, Nabule, you're very, very welcome. I know you are part of Akido as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So you're welcome, you're all welcome. And today we'll be talking about the family mentorship seminar and workshop that is coming up in February. So can you tell us much about it, Pastor, starting from you?
Well, I think it is it's high time we as immigrants and the host community in Ireland started looking at a way forward in with regards to the kind of moral decadence going on in marriages and in children's lives, because we've discovered that one of the major thing we are concerned about is the dysfunctionalities in our homes, in our marriages, in many women are married to supposedly boys instead of men. There are many boys out there. There are many girls that are being married instead of women. So the major concern for the family mentor is these sort of issues need to be addressed in a very much more positive way, such that, for instance, we want to bring the men who are acting as boys on a platform. We want to bring women who are behaving like girls on a platform, and then try to mentor their mind, their marriages, and we believe that's the reason why we're here. We also understand that in terms of parenting, there's still a lot to be done. For instance, one of the things we stand against, basically as a team and as a group, is abuse in marriages, which we have seen as a major force to be contend with in marriages in Ireland, and not only in Ireland, also in other nations as well. For instance, there are different forms of abuse, ranging from physical to verbal to psychological to mental abuse, and these are things that we discovered that the government has done a lot, but there's still a little that the government has oversighted that they've not done, or the public have not done, and that is the government has provided therapy, post-problem therapy, where after those problems occur, government is thinking, what should we do? But where we come in is we don't want to manage the bruises. We don't want to manage the problems. We rather want to prevent it.
Yeah. You talked about abuses. We actually that comes from Africa, we know that this is a big problem in Africa, whereby the men don't respect their women. They see women as slaves, as, I don't know, you're married to me, but you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. That's the job, and kind of a job description for a woman. Do you think this is a problem? Nabule, can you tell us more about
The job description for women.
For women, yeah, when you're married, it's as if you are now, it's like you have a job role. You're not acting as a wife. You're not when you're dating somebody,
Yes,
you guys
yeah.
are like, you know how that dating is like. But when you're married, it's a different story. You are now having a job description in your marriage.
Clearly
you have to do
defined
this.
roles.
Yeah. So, do you think this is a problem in marriages? Not just, I can't just say Africa, but I know we experience it in Africa. I don't know how the Irish marriages are, but I know there's a big problem here in Africa that we are facing.
Okay, it is indeed a big problem. I'll talk about the African community because that is where I'm coming from. It is a big problem within the African community because one of the things that we need to look at is the environment we're living in. The environment we're living in, and also looking at what I've just mentioned, the clearly defined roles for women in marriage. I'm going to take us back. Let us go back home in Africa. In Africa, men are breadwinners. They're the head of the household without any disrespect. But then, the reality is, most African women came into this country on their own. So there was a reversal of roles. They became the heads of their households. They became the breadwinners. Most of them they made decisions for the first time on their own without consulting or seeking any agreement from a man, or talking to maybe to the extended family.
Yeah.
Only make decisions on your own basically. If you don't want to cook tonight, if you want to order maybe Chinese, you order, you eat.
Yeah.
But then also most of these women, they've empowered themselves. They've gone to school, they've gotten jobs, and then you get now a man coming to join such a woman. They're basically joining a very different woman altogether.
Yeah.
And then some of these men, when they come and join them, they're still trying to find their feet. So the men, most of them are unemployed. The woman is the one who's working. And then, for instance, the woman would ask the man, "Baby, honey, can you please drop the kids in school today?" The man would think, "Oh, now you're turning me into a houseboy." You see, this is where there's a reversal of roles. The conflict kicks in. So I think there's an issue of there's a misunderstanding that is going on within families, and then I think also these men need help to cope with change, to cope with the woman they've met, because the person in marriage is now a different person.
Especially when she has traveled out of the country.
Yes.
Being alone and being independent for a while.
And the environment is also different. The culture in Ireland is also different.
Yeah, the law in Ireland is different as well.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
in Africa, we don't actually, do we have laws supporting women? Like if a woman is beaten, you can go to the court. And in South Africa, you have it, yeah? Can you tell us about
Malawi.
it? Yeah, in Malawi, okay.
Yeah, well, it's just coming up in a lot of African countries now.
Unlike before.
Yeah, but it's an issue that is highlighted because domestic violence has gone from just beating or verbally abusing them to actually killing somebody. So
Yeah.
it's becoming a pattern around a lot of African countries, and governments are really taking a further step to try and put whatever regulations in place so that that doesn't continue.
But what's causing this anger, Pastor Ola? What's behind the anger? Why is it that men actually raise up their hands and just see women and they turn her into a punching bag? She's now becoming the boxing, when you're boxing something.
Yeah, I get your point. In most cases, I would say it's a pattern. In the pattern, in the sense that the younger generation now that have become men now were boys many years ago. Now there were things they saw. There were things they saw their parents, their uncles, and other family, other neighbors do to their wives. Now, they did that back home in Africa. Okay? So they learned a lot of things. And now that they found themselves in Europe, they have become men. But they have a mindset that was part of those things that have been programmed into their mind. Traditionally.
In cultural.
So they find it difficult changing, because now they find that, oh, my father used to beat my mother, my brother used to beat his wife, and then they grew up with that. Now the point is, at this stage, I believe there is need for mentorship. You see, it's like somebody going into becoming. If you want to be a doctor, you need to be trained. If you want to be a teacher, you need to be trained. If you want to be a driver, you need to be trained. Whatever you find yourself doing, there's training. It's only in marriage that we don't have training. It's only in parenting that we don't have training. Everybody assumes that once I have a child, I can train my child. But if you are not well equipped for it, you find yourself fumbling along the line.
Now, in Spirit FM this week, like I told you before, they actually brought this issue up. Like, do you think the government should introduce family mentorship in schools, from primary school to secondary school, so that everybody will learn how to become a family, how to take care of his or her family when he or she is grown up? Because when you come into a family life is quite different from being single. So it's a different thing when two people come together and live in a room, two people with two different characters. But when they have that training, do you think that's a good thing for the Irish government to look into as well?
Honestly, I think it is. I think it's like building a house, you start from a block. And if we can get it right from the foundation, from the outset, it means that in the next generation, we can be convinced and be sure that we're having a better island tomorrow. Because if we can have people who generally would say, well, I've been mentored, I've been taught in school to do the right things. For instance, I'll give an example. One of the morals that I've discovered in Europe is that the children in school in Ireland are taught to be honest. They are taught to be straightforward, not to tell lies. And I discovered that most Irish people, I'm starting to be corrected. They don't tell lies. I stand to be corrected because that is the model. That's the way they were trained.
Okay, Pastor Ola, I'm curious. I mean, like as a man myself, I mean, unfortunately I'm not best placed because I'm single. But I think like my brother and his partner now have a child. I've a lovely niece, and the pressure on parents is huge. We've talked about you know, as Mbukle has said, about women coming over from African countries and then they're in Ireland and then they get a job and they develop and their husbands then come over afterwards, or their partners. What I'd love to ask Pastor Ola, if that's okay, is are there any groups available to help men in that position? Because you know, you know, are there anything? Because I know in certainly when I was growing up, my father, you know, would be into football or sport, and these are ways in which you can maybe balance things out. So I'd like to know what you think.
Definitely, that's one of the things we stand for, to help men in that situation, or on the reverse, also to help the women as well, not just the man. So we are concerned about not just mediating when there's a problem, but rather we are out to help before there's a problem, to prevent the problems. We've had a couple of families with issues like that the mentorship group have been able to help in that regards. For instance, I'll give an example. When we talk about if two people from the same culture marry each other, it's easier to handle and to manage. But imagine now immigrants are coming to Ireland and they are now marrying people from other culture, people from other background, and then the orientation is different. Now you're going to find intercultural clashes. Now in such marriages, there need to be some people like ourselves who have experience, who have experience in this area, to be able to act as interface between these two people and mentor them on how to make it work.
Okay, and Pastor, if it's okay, I just want to ask you as well. You know, have you had you know, achievements from this? Have you had success, or is this just in the early stages, or how do you have any fruit to bear, as it were?
Yeah, very well, very well. We started this program last year, and we did a couple of sessions in our workshop. There were families who were actually in court. They had issues going to court and they were going to divorce. But then through this mentorship, they came for the program for the first time, and today, to God be all the glory. Not for me, not for anybody. They are able to come out of
for themselves.
Yeah, they're able to come out of court and it's resolved. We also have families as well who had issues with parenting.
Yes.
And through this family mentorship, we're able to address the issues associated with poor parenting, you know. And there have been issues in different ways because there are many things we look at. Basically, we are not just centered on the men or on the women, but we're centered on both of them. How to work together, how to build trust, how to build confidence, how to build love. I mean, we can't train people how to love. You know, you can't teach people how to do things, but you can point them in the right direction.
Okay.
That's what we stand for, just to point them in that direction.
Like Ian, you threw the question. I just wanted to add on that question, Pastor. We know that men has this ego when it comes to African men. You can tell them.
Irish men too.
Yeah, you tell them, go and join this group. Are you controlling my life now? That's the next thing. So on such, when you're facing a difficult man in the house, what do you do? Can you talk to us about it?
In such situations, you seek advice. That's what family mentorship is here for. We do faith-based counseling, you know, if you need someone to talk to, we offer those kind of services.
So can you go to the houses of a couple and tell them, I want to meet your husband, and you know?
Of course, yes. We offer those services. If you have a problem, if you want to talk to someone, you don't have to let your partner know. You can contact us, you know, and we'll do personal, you know, counseling
As well.
and as well, yeah. You know,
So you go in and talk to the family.
we
as
can
well,
go in and talk to individual. We can go in and talk to the family. We can bring them, two of them, together and see how to help resolve the issue.
Yeah. So, Pastor, how do you see? Let's remove Ireland from this picture. Let's think about our younger ones we left back in Africa. You know, this mentality, this when they see their parents fighting, this can affect them psychologically.
Naturally.
And it's going to affect the same generation, not just my generation, generation to come. Because if this issue of abusing in marriages is not addressed, it's still going to continue.
Naturally.
So
Naturally.
how do we go to the roots and stop this?
In fact, the issue of marital abuse or marital unfaithfulness did not just start 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It didn't just start about 50 years ago. It's always been there. It's just that there's not been a serious talk and lecture and training over it. And if it's not talked about, if it's not looked into, it's going to continue. And that's the reason why we thought within this group that we should actually look into a way to reprogram, re-mentor people. For instance, we know that we cannot handle every situation. So what we're doing is we're targeting a particular audience. We say, okay, let's start from where we are, and then from there, those people who are in diaspora, now, if they are well mentored, they can also go back home and do the same. So what we're doing is we are looking for more people to get involved in what we're doing and to be part of what we're doing and to believe in the same thing we're doing. But with that, they can go to nations, they can go to their own countries. In Ireland, for instance, in this panel, we have somebody from Zimbabwe, somebody from Malawi, somebody from Ireland, some people from Nigeria. So that's like many nations together already. Now, if many nations join this group as well, and they travel, one day somebody from Malawi is going to go back to his own country and is going to carry the same fruits he has got here to his own country, and is going to start mentorship. And then other people from other places will start mentorship. Then the world will be a better place for everybody. It's going to be a better place. The truth is this: in our workplaces, most people are not functioning properly in their offices because they have issues back home. If you have issues back home, it's going to affect your productivity as a worker. It's going to affect you even if in the church, where you involve yourself, because everything starts from the home unit. If the home unit is not in place, then every other place is going to have a multiplier effect on every part of the economy.
So Pastor Ola, are you saying it's almost like HR for families, human resource?
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like, because I know what you're saying, and I think that all companies now, businesses, you know, if there's a problem at work, they want to, instead of letting things fester and problems growing, they want to help each other. I mean, have you been asked, maybe, I don't know if you've been asked, to go into businesses, speak to the people working there about how they're, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. That will be the second phase that we're going to be looking into.
Okay.
For at the moment, we're dealing with the issue first on the outside. Then after this, we'll be going into developing schools and other places, you know, just to see how we can help.
Introduce the programs into it as well. So, Pastor Ola, before we say anything more, I know people want to test this program. You can test us on 087-939-2000, or you can call us on 012960939, and you can
or
also
you can go online on www.dublinsouthfm.ie.
And you can also leave a message on our Facebook, Our Africa. If you have a question for Pastor Ola, you want to know more information about the program, you can also go on our Facebook, Our Africa. And Pastor Ola, can you tell us how people can, where is this program happening, what time, what date, and how can can people locate the venue, and what should people be expecting from you guys that
Very
day?
good. The program is the Family Mentors. It's a workshop, a seminar coming up on the 16th of February in Tyrrell Town Community Centre in Dublin 15. And if, for instance, if you live in Dublin, I'm sure you would know Dublin 15. But if you don't, you can give us a call, and we can direct you. So numbers, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can call the
The
numbers
numbers,
out.
the numbers to call are 087 633 6209, or you can call 085 706 5797. You can also send us email in case you have questions or you have things. Our email is thefamilymentors@gimtvonline.com. And so with that, we can direct you and navigate you.
Are you
to-
on Facebook as well?
Yes, we're on Facebook as well. We are. Our Facebook address is the Family Mentors.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get us there. So the program is for 16th of February, and we're starting at 4 o'clock, and it ends at 7 p.m.
And if you want to hear more about, because the interview will be going on podcast from on Monday, and you can listen back to the podcast. All you need to do is just come back to Dublin South FM website and go to Our Africa, and you can hear the podcast live again and again and again. If you know you can't locate the place, it will be on podcast. Everything will be on podcast. You can hear the interview again. You can also
To your
make the
heart's
contacts
content.
again as well, and the ads will be going on there as well from. Hopefully from a Monday. So that's all from Pastor Olat now. We'll be taking a break because we have the Botswana community coming up. Don't go anywhere. We have Laika. Yeah, she will be playing her. Yeah, Lira. Yeah, yeah.
Lira.
I can't wait to hear her. I heard she's lovely. So don't go anywhere. Like I said, text us on 087 2000. Call us on 012960939, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back next minute.